Hey there, YouTube. How's it going? This is Domog. I wanted to show you something very special today. I call it the power of wings. What does that mean? I don't know. I just wanted a funny name for my Floowandereeze deck profile. So this is going to be a pure Floowandereeze deck profile for the card game of Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm sure you guys have heard of it if you've seen any of my videos here. I've made deck profiles in the past, but let's get started. So I'm going to try to make this one a lot quicker because the first time I recorded this, it was over a half hour, and nobody has time for that for a deck profile. So we're just going to fly through here. Rabina, so we're going to start with Rabina. We got 3 of this thing. Very cute little birdie. It lets you search a level 4 lower wing beast monster, then you're granted an extra normal summon of a wing beast. And if you're normal summoning wing beast while it's banished, you can return it to your hand and chain block your other bird's normal summon. So it basically, they all basically have this effect, but they all do different things when they're normal summoned. The next one is 3 copies of Floowandereeze and Eaglin. So this, like Robina, it lets you search, but this one instead lets you search a level 7 or higher wing beast monster. We got 2 Stree and 1 Toucan. So Stree lets you target a card in either graveyard and banish it, then get an extra normal summon. And Toucan lets you target a banished Floowandereeze card, add it to your hand, and you get an extra normal summon of a wing beast. Next up, we got our boss monsters. So we got 2 Floowandereeze Empen. If it's tribute summoned, you can search a Floowandereeze spell or trap and get an extra normal summon of any type of monster. If you're battling a monster with this, you can banish a card from your hand once per turn and have the battling monster's attack and defense. And it also has the effect of, while it's tribute summoned, your opponent cannot activate the effects of their special summon monsters that are in attack mode. So it's like a floodgate. It's almost like a reverse Baguska. Next up, we have a Rise of the Mega Monarch. This card is insane. Lets you target 2. If it's tribute summoned, you can target 2 cards. You can target 1 card on the field and 1 card in either graveyard. You return them to the top of the deck. And it's like essentially a Yada lock. It's like a Yada lock that's legal in 2021. And if you tributed a wind monster, you can target a 3rd card and return it to the hand. So it's pretty nutty. Definitely a great card, especially if you're playing on the opponent's turn. Next boss monster we have is Mist Valley Apex Avian. Mist Valley Apex Avian lets you, it's basically a floating negate. So if your opponent activates, if anybody activates a card or effect, you can target a Mist Valley monster you control. You return it to the hand, and if you do, you negate that activation and destroy the card. Very, very good, especially against the mirror. Like if you're in the mirror match, this is an insane card. Then you have 1 Barrier Statue of the Stormwinds. Not only is this a floodgate that locks players out of summoning, like special summoning anything that's not a wind monster, it's also searchable through Robina. And you can actually do a combo with Robina and Eaglin, or Map and Robina, or Map and Eaglin, where you end on a board of a Tribute Summoned Empen and a Barrier Statue of the Stormwind. So it's absolutely insane. This is definitely a card you want to play. Now we're going to go into some hand traps. So we're going to have 3 Dimension Shifter, 2 Ash Blossom, and 2 Effect Veiler. I have 2 other hand traps in here, Infinite Permanence, but I'm going to show you them when we get to the trap cards. Dimension Shifter is insane, especially for the current meta, because it's basically a Macro Cosmos hand trap that lasts for 2 turns. It makes it so any cards that are sent to the graveyard are banished instead, and because Floowandereeze benefit from being banished, that doesn't really hurt them at all. In fact, it actually helps them a lot. Ash Blossom, we already know what Ash Blossom is, and we already know what Effect Veiler is. They're mainly in here, though. I'm playing them at 2 each because I do want to see them if I'm going second, but also they are some of my cross-out designated targets, because they're 2 of the hand traps that actually hurt this deck the most. So next up, we got the spells. We got Floowandereeze and the Magnificent Map. This is the best card in the deck. Oh my goodness, what a card this is. So during your main phase, you can, like at resolution of this effect, you can reveal a Floowandereeze monster in your hand like a level 4 lower Floowandereeze, I believe. Let me just make sure. Just a level 1 Floowandereeze. You could reveal a level 1 Floowandereeze monster in your hand, banish a Floowandereeze card with a different name, and then you get an extra normal summon of that revealed Floowandereeze monster. And then you can combo off. You didn't use your turn's normal summon. Then during your opponent's main phase, if they normal summon, you can normal summon a Floowandereeze monster of your own from your hand. That's also an extra normal summon. So you effectively play on your opponent's turn, and you can disrupt them with Rise of the Mega Monarch, or you can disrupt them with Apex Valley, like Apex Avion. Absolutely nuts card. Absolutely important. You gotta see it as soon as possible. I'm playing some draw spells too, because consistency is very much needed in this deck. So I'm playing 3 Pot of Prosperity and 3 Pot of Duality. Now, instead of Prosperity, you can play Pot of Extravagance. I mean, that's fine. I play Prosperity because I want to dig for my specific answers, so I know I can get my play off. And if you combine Prosperity with Duality, like say you open both, you can dig 9 cards deep into your deck, and it's absolutely awesome. I'm saying absolutely a lot. It is absolutely an excessive use of that word. But I digress. We're going to continue. We have 3 Crossout Designator, and we have 2 Book of Moon. So I'm playing Crossout Designator because, you know, I want to be flashy and stop some of those hand traps that I've shown you already. This deck really crumbles to disruption. So it's definitely a huge weakness with this deck. But Book of Moon lets you play around it. It lets you play around targeting negation like Veiler and Impermanence, because it won't resolve properly if you chain it to their effects and flip your own monster face down that triggered. And Crossout Designator is just it's like a tool that helps you negate some of those problem cards by banishing them from your deck. And you could even, like, at the end of your opponent's turn, banish one of your birds, and it can help you combo for the next turn. So we're going to do the one-ofs next. We have Floowandereeze on the Unexplored Winds, Gold Sark, Terraforming, and Called by the Grave. So Unexplored Winds, basically, if you're tribute summoning a monster with 2 tributes, like a level 7 monster or higher, instead of sending tributes, you can send cards to the graveyard. You can send one of your monsters to the graveyard and one of your opponent's cards to the graveyard. It can get rid of so many problem cards, and it's absolutely awesome. Again, there's absolutely. I absolutely love this card. And it has another effect where you can reveal up to 2 Wing Beast monsters in your hand, return them to your deck, and draw the same number of cards. So it's also a hand fixer. Then we have Gold Sarcophagus, because it can banish your small birdies, and it can banish your Floowandereeze cards to add them back with Toucan. It's a great card. It's limited, though. Much like the other 2 cards are. Terraforming lets you add your Magnificent Map. Very important to see Magnificent Map as early as possible, so that's why we play Terraforming. And Called by the Grave. It's another card that stops hand traps, and it can stop problematic cards that activate in the graveyard or that move themselves in the graveyard. Or just stuff that's in the graveyard in general. If they're problematic monsters and you want them gone, Called by the Grave will do that. But again, it's also limited at 1, so that's why we're only playing 1. I would love to play more, though. Hopefully it comes off the list someday, but it probably will not. And then my trap cards, I'm playing 2 Infinite Impermanence and 1 Dreaming Town. So we know what Infinite Impermanence does. It's basically a trap version of Effect Veiler, but there's also the Dreaming Town here. During the main phase, you can get an extra normal summon of one of your level 4 or lower Wing Beast monsters. And then if it's in your graveyard, what you can do is, if you tribute summon a level 7 or higher Wing Beast monster, you can... Actually, I think it's level 7 or higher monster. Yeah, if you tribute summon a level 7 or higher monster while this is in your graveyard, you can banish it from your graveyard as a trigger effect and flip all of your opponent's face-up monsters face down. So that's a nice little disruption effect, too. It all goes into the theme of playing on your opponent's turn, which is what you want to do with this deck, and that's why it's so good. So we're going to go into the extra deck really quickly because it's basically all utility stuff, and you really don't run into it that often unless it's really specific situations. So I'm playing one Shurag and one Farragut. I could actually summon these, but like these are more these are more powerful in the Dogmatica build, but I like having them in there because I could still summon them. I play Link 1 of Salamangreat Almirage. My Link 2s are Phoenix and Hita. Now, Hita could be a Crystron Helifibrax, but right now it's not. It's just the Hita. My Link 3 is Celine, the Queen of the Master Magicians. It's a Link ladder card that I could use with Effect Veiler to go into my Access Code Talker. Access Code Talker it breaks boards and it beats over things. And I have another tech choice here. Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. This lets me link away problematic monsters that are going to be too big to get over with Empen or even Access Code Talker. So I really like this. When I was able to play this, it's been awesome. We got some Xyz monsters. I play one Kikinagashi Fucho and one Lyrilusk Assembled Nightingale. Basically small birds that'll either not be able to die by battle, so I could battle anyway, or they'll attack directly, so I can go into Zeus. Be careful, because you don't want your barrier statue up when you're trying to make this play. I've made that mistake too many times, more than I'd like to admit. But if you want to go into Zeus, you can go into Zeus. It's actually not that bad in this deck. My last 3 cards are kind of just tech choices that I figured. Utopic Future, Utopic Draco Future, and Elder Entity Intis. So Intis is like a free pop if my opponent's playing Maximus. These 2 could be Nova and Makaba respectively for another Maximus batch of targets. But really, I liked the idea of playing Draco Future. It's come up in some of my games. It's not really a game breaker. I just like the card. And then my side deck. I'll go over my side deck, but this really isn't going to matter because your local meta may vary. But for me, this has been pretty okay so far. So I'm playing 3 copies of Nibiru. Arguably the best side deck hand trap in the game right now. It just says no to whatever board your opponent's trying to make if you're activating at the right time. And it gives them a nice beefy token, but we don't really care about that. We can spin it away with Ryza if we have to. This is awesome. I'm playing 1 copy of Dark Simorgh, and I'm playing 1 copy of Droll and Lockbird. Droll and Lockbird mainly because it really hurts to not be able to search my answers in this deck. I really want to be able to search my answers, and more than likely they're going to be siding in Droll and Lockbird. But because I'm playing Crossout Designator, I'm siding in the 1 Droll and Lockbird, so I can put it in and Crossout Designator the Droll and Lockbird when they try to go for it. And Dark Simorgh is just a funny little tech option with Anti-Spell Fragrance, so I could prevent my opponent from activating spell cards. So next 6 cards, I absolutely hate back row, so I'm going to give you some Cosmic Cyclones, I'm going to give you some Lightning Storms. I absolutely hate back row. Stop playing it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to look at it. I don't want to think about it, so I'm just going to pop it away. And if there's some problematic monsters that might not have negates that I want to get rid of or they're going to be in my way, then Lightning Storm helps with that too. So definitely like those options for it. And then my last 4 cards, I have 3 Anti-Spell Fragrance and 1 Red Reboot. Again, I hate spells and traps. So this, in tandem with Dark Simorgh, basically tells my opponent they're not allowed to activate spell cards, because with this they're going to have to set spell cards before they can activate them for an entire turn. But Dark Simorgh says you can't set cards. I'm face up, you can't set cards. So this effectively locks them out of spell cards. And this is against decks like Altergeist and Eldritch and all that nonsense that play a bunch of trap cards. I don't want to look at them. I don't want to think about them. So that's my bird deck. I hope you guys liked it. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down. If you want to talk about what I can change in the deck, what you think I should change, leave a comment in the comment section below. And if you want to support my channel because you like what I'm making, then please consider subscribing. So thanks again for watching. I hope you guys all stay safe and enjoy your Yu-Gi-Oh! Adventures.